Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Oh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Chinook Cedary. This is episode 533. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
KC, how are we?
Happy early birthday.
Thanks, man.
I'll wish you happy birthday the next time we record, but happy early birthday.
I appreciate it. It's tough, man.
30. You're going to be 32, dude.
32, man. 32. We were talking about offline, like, I wish for one thing on my birthday, and it's a Yankees win. And this Thursday is one of the first times the Yankees haven't played on my birthday in I don't know how long, outside of 2020. And we were like looking through all the past scores, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember specifically they won last year. It was a doubleheader. I don't remember who they played. And then I looked. That was 2022, man. That was 3 years ago that was a doubleheader. That wasn't last year. That was 3 trips around the sun ago. So that's pretty disappointing. Just shows how fast the old TikTok flies. So it's depressing. But, we're okay. We're going to deal with it. Everyone keeps saying the 30s are a lot better than the 20s. So I'm just going to embrace it. Just going to assume it gets a lot better.
30s are treating me real well. Can't even lie.
Yeah.
You want to talk some ball?
Sure. I guess that's why we're here.
Let's talk some ball. Per your request, we're gonna grade a broadcast call. You want to do it right off the top, or shall we wait?
Call of the week.
Call of the week. Here you have it, folks.
High fly ball, deep right field, wave goodbye! A grand slam for Daniel Schneemann! And the Guardians have flipped the script here in the ninth to take a 5-3 lead. Oh, how Schnee it is!
Well, he did not miss it.
Let's watch that again.
High fly ball, deep right field, wave goodbye! A grand slam for Daniel Schneemann! And the Guardians have flipped the script here in the ninth to take a 5-3 lead. Oh, how Schnee it is!
Well, he did not miss it.
There's something beautiful about a call on the road.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing.
For a big moment, man.
Yeah.
There's something beautiful about it.
The silence in the background is awesome.
It makes you wonder, like, how many rows down from the booth you could be and hear a call like that. Because everybody else is going pun intended, radio silent.
Sure.
And this guy's just letting it eat up in the booth. That was a fantastic call. I think that was a great call.
Who was that?
Daniel Schneemann?
No. Come on, man.
Who are you? Oh, making the call.
Yeah.
Was that the Guardians team?
Yeah. Had to be.
Was that Tom Hamilton? Yeah, Tom Hamilton. Shout him out.
Radio. Because Matt Underwood is TV.
Okay, so don't shout out Tom Hamilton.
How do we know? How can we know? How can we find out? It's probably something we should have looked up beforehand. But hey, it's a news segment, and we're still easing our way into it.
Well, we got to give due credit. Yeah, Matt Underwood. Yep. Good call. Matt Underwood confirmed.
Real solid call. I'm going strong here. I think the volume was great. I think the flip the script nugget drop in there was real nice. I don't how is it that how schnee it is? Is that supposed to be like how sweet it is? Is that the play on words there?
Yeah,
I didn't love that. I'm going to be honest. That took me a tick down.
Here's the gap. Here's the gap. From here to there, that's the leap I'm going to take. In assuming that that's what that was.
Yeah. Not a big one. Not a big leap.
You're not big about how schnee it is.
It lost just a little. The rest of it was excellent. I think I'm gonna go with like a strong 8-4 here.
8-4. I feel like you kind of lost me. 8-4.
You think?
I mean, the mid 8s and up. I mean, we got to reserve that for like something special.
Now, I feel like the 9s are like almost like an untouchable. It's got to be a big moment. It's got to be.
9s are like a 9 giving out 9s.
Yeah,
like a Joe Davis in October kind of situation.
Yeah,
because he finds his stride. Well, I mean, he's great, but he really hits his stride in October with Fox and all that.
I've lost. Joe Davis has kind of gone a tick down for me just because he calls the Dodgers games regularly. And I feel like the Dodgers postseason bias, you can't help but just feel like it's still there.
I mean, he's human, man. He's human.
Yeah.
What can you do?
But I'm going 8-4 on this. I was gonna go 8-5, but the how schnee it is. Yeah,
that doesn't bother me. I'm gonna go 7-9.
Strong.
7-9.
Respect on that, That's a good call. Big moment too. Talking about Mr. Schneeman accounting for all the Guardians' runs in that game. 9th inning go-ahead home run for those who weren't able to watch on YouTube. Big moment. Big moment. This is what the Guards are, man. I've been trying to tell you. Everyone sleeps on the Guardians year over year, and it's like they find names, they find production, they play ball the right way, and they're just in the hunt. Like the A's of Ohio, some may say. The A's of Ohio.
Is that what they're saying?
Some say. Some say that.
Let's talk about some headlines that are happening right now in baseball. Some storylines, some narratives that you as a baseball fan need to be familiar with. Let's start with Shohei. Let's talk Shohei. And I'm glad we're getting the opportunity to start with Shohei here because a couple names that may be mentioned in this segment already went deep tonight, including Shohei. And another name that may pop up, Corbin Carroll, apparently just went deep moments ago. But the storyline here, the narrative rather, is that actually, no, I'm going to pose this as a question. I won't even call it a narrative. Does Shohei Ohtani miss out on the MVP in 2025? And honestly, as I say that, it doesn't sound like that hot of a take because
it doesn't.
The more games that pass, I think the reality is that we're not I just don't think we're going to see him on a mound this year. I'm really gathering, I'm really getting that sense.
Not in time enough for it to impact the MVP voting.
His case, correct.
Yeah. I think what's really weird about his the perspective on him is, and I know like everyone's conversation has been like, oh, it's gonna happen every year this is what he does. If he was able to win it as a DH only last year without even pitching, like it's his every year. And I get the sentiment of that. I get the ability of that. That does make sense. Where I struggle is if you're going back-to-back years of DH only, I feel like after going what he did last year, like you almost have to go a tick above. Like 50-50 was insane. Never been done. Now you got to show us something else that is better than last year somehow. And that's hard to do because that was one of the greatest offensive seasons we've ever seen. I think once pitching does get back into the mix, if it happens early enough this year, if it ends up being next year, and then all of a sudden you see this like, okay, maybe it's not 50-50 again, but he did pitch 27, 28 starts to a sub 3.2 ERA. Like, of course he's going to win MVP. You know what I'm saying? Like, but without that, and he still has time, obviously, but like, you'd have to repeat last year. And that's really hard to do. And I think in a way, everyone's just kind of numb to it, which is also weird. Like we take for granted players. This is just what we do as fans. I'm sure baseball writers are the same way. Like we just take for granted like what these guys do year after year after year. And then we just kind of become numb to it. So I'm going to say, yeah, he loses out on the MVP.
I want to hear you say that again. I want you to look at me and say
You're the one that
again.
asked that question and said it wasn't even that much of a hot take. Yes, he misses out on the NL MVP this year.
Wow. Well, let's get into some names that could
in first week of May.
Could
you make that call? So
weird. I posed that
you gonna
question
answer it yourself.
Well, let's talk some numbers elsewhere around the league, and then maybe I'll make a judgment call.
Just stir the pot on Nate.
I pose that question because the names that are on his tail, you could even make the argument that one or two of these names are already. Ohtani might be looking up at one or two of these names. You could make the case. They're names that this isn't a fluke. Like these are guys that you can assume will be in the conversation at the end of the season. One name being Fernando Tatis Jr. On the year coming into today, Monday, he's tied for second in the league, or all of baseball, I should say, in B-WAR at 2.4 behind Judge's 3.1, which we all know what Aaron Judge is doing. 2.4 WAR on the season, 8 homers, he's hitting .328, slashing .399, .574, .972, OPS plus of 162 or 169, excuse me.
It's great. It's great.
I mean,
that's
that's
really good.
That's outside of the WAR conversation and a higher clip when it comes to average. I mean, almost looking at his slash line, Tatis 399, 574, 972. Ohtani 399, 571, 970. Almost identical. And don't forget, he's playing on the other side of the ball as well. So that's
like to like a top tier level.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. As he pops up on my TV as I speak. So that's a name in the mix. Another name in the mix, Kyle Tucker. Sitting 292 coming in today, Monday. 9 homers, slashing 399, 577, 975 with an OPS plus of 174. So again, almost identical numbers. Like almost down to like the 10th or the 1,000th, I should say. And both of these are names, both guys are guys that are contributing to teams that are playing at a very, very, very high level right now.
Yeah. It's not crazy, man. It's not crazy. Because, like, you also have to account for the fact that there's conversations around the Dodgers of, like, you know, it's a loaded team. And I have to think that there's writers who vote for this out there that have a little more weight in the word value. Right? And you can look at Shohei and say, like, you know what? I think the Dodgers are okay without you putting up mammoth numbers. I think they're okay with you being middle of the road to your standard, which is still great and better than most players. When you look around at some of these other guys and you look at what the value of what Kyle Tucker is doing for the Cubs, it's hard to imagine, if you put emphasis on that word, it's hard to imagine a more valuable player at the moment so far. I think Tatis has been great. But I give the edge to Kyle Tucker right now. As Mike Schilt is getting into it.
I was going to say, dude, Mike Schilt is letting it eat. Fire the boys up, Mike. That's an old school manager right there.
I know. I really like him, man. I really do.
The aforementioned Corbin Carroll. Coming into today, 9 homers, make it 10 with tonight's homer. Game's not even over yet. Might even add to that. He's hitting 281. Again, coming in today, slashing 344, 575, 919 with an OPS plus of 152. I don't think he's going to be... I think if the trajectories of the players we just discussed continue, I just think that their skill set is going to play a little better when it comes to the MVP conversation. Not to take anything away from Corbin Carroll, but I just feel like we're talking about a different type of player in comparison to somebody like Tatis.
It's just a different tier, yeah. I think
or
Corbin
even
Carroll's,
Tucker.
I think Corbin Carroll's great, man. I think he's really, really good. It's good to see him back. He feels like he's back. It just seems that way. I'd like to see those numbers go up, just creep up a little bit more. I'd love to see the average get above 3, because I know batting average doesn't matter the way it used to in a lot of people's eyes. But when you have the number of players that you do hitting over 300 right now and are doing it year after year, I feel like it's starting to matter a little bit more. And I'd like to see on base to creep above, I don't know, for MVP status, it's got to be in the 4s for me. I think on base has to be in the 4s to have that conversation. So it's good to see the pop back. I'd like to see the rest of it kind of come back too.
Well, I mean, you're talking about an OBP that's in the 4s. Let's talk about a guy that is satisfying that benchmark. Another headline that you need to be aware of, familiar with, is the fact that right now, at this very moment, Pete Alonso is the best player on the Mets right now. And I got to say, if you would have told me that a month plus into the season, if you would have told me that back in December, that one, Pete Alonso was even going to be on the Mets, but two, a month into the season, far and away the best player on the Mets right now.
And that this podcast would be giving him his flowers. I wouldn't have said that either.
I mean, how sustainable is this? I mean, Pete's a man on a mission right now. Coming into today, he's already accumulated a WAR of 2.4, 8 homers on the year. He's hitting 344 with 31 ribbies. He's slashing 468, 656, and 1124
I gotta pull this
for an
up.
OPS with an OPS plus of 220.
That's crazy. That's big dog numbers.
And if you don't believe me, take your pick of category. OPS 11. What did I say? Well, MLB might be showing me something a little different. OPS
1124.
Well, right now MLB is showing me 1116. Anyway, doesn't matter. Juan Soto next in line, 812. Frankie Lindor, you know him, you love him, 802. Brandon Nimmo next in line, 704. Homers, as you would imagine, bringing the power to that lineup, leads the team with 8. Average, that's the thing that's, I say it all the time, say what you will about batting average, but the fact he's hitting at a clip of 341 is crazy.
It is.
But the on base, as you mentioned, we're talking MVP worthy thresholds. 465, dude. He's getting on base. I mean, we talked, what was it, last episode about the fact that Judge is getting on base 1 out of every 2 trips to the plate. And Pete's not far behind him.
Yeah, I mean, walk rate for his career has been at 10.2%. He's so far this year at 16%. And of course, the strikeouts are coming down as well. Career 22.5. This year he's at 15. He's also hitting the ball hard. His average exit velocity right now is 95. Is he using a torpedo bat?
I don't think so, is he?
I'm not trying to be coy here. Like I'm serious, because like over his career, it's just 90. So
no,
it's been a tick up.
No, not using torpedo. It's confirmed.
Freaking Devin Williams, man. Barrel percentage is way up. So he's just barreling balls, man. Barrel percentage over his career is 14%. He's at 19% so far. So he's just squaring baseballs up.
Let me ask you this.
And he's walking and not striking out, and it's a good mix.
Let me ask you this. If you had to guess, how much do you think he, we'll say, positively channeled what happened this offseason into his start, into propelling him to the start that he's got this year? Do you think he's the kind of guy that sort of compartmentalizes that, puts it in a box, puts it up on the shelf, doesn't think about it? Or do you think that Pete Alonso is the kind of guy that takes, I mean, let's just call a spade, the disrespect that I feel like he probably felt like he received, and is using that to be like, hey, I mean, you can bring in a guy for $765 million and you can continue to put Frankie Lindor's name above mine in terms of the hierarchy of this franchise, but I'm no scrub.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the guy has had bulletin board material since college. Dude was bullied in college, and you got to argue he's bullied in the MLB by fans, by us.
Yeah, but how much of that is brought
by
on
media?
himself?
I for sure get that, but like, I think this. My point is the first time where it was just weird. He got treated weird this offseason. He wasn't treated well. He didn't get the money he deserved. He didn't get the respect on the Mets side that he deserved.
Which, frankly, I think was all he was after. I don't think he cared about what the rest of the league said about him. I just think he wanted to be appreciated by the Mets.
And he's done everything right. He's done everything right. He's checked every box. So shame on the Mets for not treating him better. And I don't know, man. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes elsewhere this offseason. If this stays up, continues to do this, and you're looking at a 7 or 8 year deal.
I don't know, dude. I mean,
It's 30.
To go back to the offseason with this guy, he's making like team exclusive offers that, like whatever. Like this deal is available to you, the New York Mets, for a limited time only.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna want to stay, and not to look so far down the road, like to free agency already, but I think he's gonna want to stay, but that he's gonna want there to be a shift in narrative. He's gonna want the tables to be turned a little bit, and given, I won't say given the keys to the team, but like at the very least, given the respect he feels that he's owed.
I don't think the dollar amount matters so much, man. I really just think it's the length. I think it's just the length. And if you said the Mets gave him 6 years or above, he's taking it. Don't matter the dollar amount. They really don't. And he would probably retire early and stay a Met. And he should. If that's what he wants, he should. Because, look, we may not be fans of the way he acts or his antics or any of that, but like the reality is, like, I'm a fan of guys wanting to stick around and stay loyal to a ball club. And
it's true.
Props to him for wanting this. Props to him for working for it and earning it, and he deserves it. And I don't know, man. The Mets they're strange. This is weird that they're not giving him more love. And I wonder how much of the Vladdy extension affects that. Now that Vlad is officially off the table for the Mets.
Valid point. I'll tell you a team that could use a guy like Pete is the Texas Rangers. Nate, are you familiar with how bad this offense is?
I don't think I am.
It's so bad in Texas that they decided to fire a guy who apparently has held a position that I did not know existed in Major League Baseball. The Rangers have fired offensive coordinator Donnie Ecker on Sunday.
This isn't the New York Rangers.
Correct. And it's also not the Jets or the Giants.
I have no idea if there's offensive coordinators in hockey, but
yeah, no, Laura, in the chat, batting coach, hitting coach, whatever you want to call them. I mean, that's what they've been called for years.
I don't love offensive coordinator.
It's not a real thing in baseball.
In our sport.
Yeah, no, it's not a real thing.
Kind of hate it.
But no, the headline here, the storyline that you need to be familiar with is the fact that the Rangers offense sucks. And that's important because we're talking about an American League, as we've said for the last I think at this rate, last 2 months, the American League is not very good right now. And coming into this year, I won't speak for you, but for me, at the very least, I had the Rangers coming into the season as one of the better, if not one of the best teams in the American League, albeit a pretty lackluster American League.
I think 1,000% one of the best offenses in the American League. Like that seemed like a slam dunk. That seemed like a no-brainer.
Well, I got some news. They're not. In terms of their rankings, forget the American League, just around baseball, coming into today, they're averaging 3.23 runs a game, which is 29th in baseball. Don't forget, there's 30 teams. For those of you that are keeping track at home, 30 teams in Major League Baseball. They're second to last. Total bases per game, they're 27th in baseball. They have a run differential of minus 18, which is 20th in baseball. You want me to go down this list of just offensive metrics here?
Yes.
Batting average, 25th in baseball. Plate appearances, at bats, in terms of like getting guys to the plate. At bats, 30th in baseball. Plate appearances, 26th in baseball. So not a lot of turnover in the lineup. Runs per game, I believe I mentioned, 29th in baseball. Hits per game, 27th in baseball. Home runs per game, 20th in baseball. RBIs per game, 29th in baseball. Walks per game, 29th in baseball. They're not even with walks, hit by pitches, they're just not getting on base. They're not hitting the baseball. They're not doing anything well offensively, which has led them to this was an update to the notes that I already came into today with is as of today, they've hired Brett Boone to be their hitting coach, which I don't really know what to make of that, but I guess a change in personnel maybe is due. As we say all the time, sometimes a head's got to roll, and
yeah,
maybe getting a new one in there is better. They're better off for it. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know, dude. At a certain point, it's going to have to fall on the players. Like, I understand the scapegoat. I understand that one head's got to roll every time.
I'm sorry. I know it happens. It happens when you're just letting it eat with the Nuggets. But breaking news is breaking news.
It better be good.
Peter Alonso against the scrappy Arizona Diamondbacks.
This is not alarm worthy.
2-run homer, adding to his case. Anyway, back to what you were saying.
No, I'm out. I forgot.
Brett Boone. You didn't forget. Stop. Don't lie to me. You didn't forget. Pick right back up with what you were saying.
I just think that you got guys in there that are professional hitters. You got enough names in that clubhouse that know how to go about their business. So I understand needing to have a scapegoat. I understand having to fire somebody, but these guys need to be better at their job. That's plain and simple. That's how it works. They need to be better about their job.
Your guy, Justin Havens on Twitter, put out a tweet, I believe it was earlier today. The two primary offseason acquisitions for the Texas Rangers, Jock Peterson and Jake Berger, have combined for -2 wins above replacement this year. It's kind of what you're dealing with.
Yeah, man. Jock has been, I don't know if it's gotten any better, but I know that the first couple weeks were some of the worst in baseball.
I mean, we talked about it. It was an 0 for 40 something streak, no?
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, man. Jake Berger, like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why this lineup isn't going. Corey Seager, I know he just went through a little bit of an IL stint. I can't remember if he started the year on time or if he was a late start. Marcus Semien has been bad.
Very bad.
I'm wondering if Jonah Heim was that just like a World Series year success kind of thing? I mean, Adolis Garcia, like, you have names. You have enough names.
No disrespect to Wyatt Langford, but if he's your top performer in that lineup, you're not in a great place.
No.
You're not in a great place. Leading the team, if I'm not mistaken here, OPS at 920, also leading the team in homers. And not to mention they recalled Evan Carter today, who I believe is slashing 221, 333, and 416 at AAA, which that's a AAA. So I don't really know if that's going to do anything to really jumpstart the team, but I'm at a loss for words. I really am.
Yeah, it's not making sense, man.
Because we're not, like you said, we're not talking one or two guys. We're not talking like a Corey Seager having a little bit of a slow start, which he is obviously, but it's up and down the entire lineup. Like these seasons are long, no doubt. There's still time to turn this thing around, no doubt. But you would hope that with these guys that are off to extremely sluggish starts, that you'd be able to stagger it a little bit, like sort of bail some other guys out. Like if Corey Seager's just not feeling it to start the year, needing some extra time to get into the swing of things, like Adolis Garcia, help him out.
Yeah.
Jonah Heim, I mean, I don't fully know what you're capable of doing in that regard, but like help a guy out. Marcus Semien, we know what you're capable of doing in that regard. Help a guy out.
That's a big fall off. Whatever is happening with Marcus Semien is a big fall off.
I don't get it, man.
I don't know either. But what's tough is that, like, you look at some of these lineups that you can see that sometimes like an athleticism can bail you out in a way. Sometimes athleticism can help you, right? Like, grab the Padres, grab the Diamondbacks, grab teams who the Guardians that can get guys in motion, that can hit behind guys, that can move guys over, that can shoot gaps, that it's not so reliant on power. And you look around the Rangers lineup and it just feels a little slow and unathletic. And it seems like it only has to come with pop. That's the only way they're going to get out of this. Then it ain't going to do the trick. That ain't going to work.
You know what else isn't working? The Baltimore Orioles. I know this isn't the first time we've talked about the Orioles either, but it's in keeping with the theme of the episode, storylines, narratives, things you need to know that are happening right now. What's happening right now is the fact that the Baltimore Orioles, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you kill them off?
I called him dead. Yeah, I called.
You killed them off. That's
a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I mean, I can't say that I don't think I can call it crazy because I mean, both sides. I know we just kind of harped on the Rangers for their offensive woes, but I mean, both sides of the ball right now for the O's are looking mighty sloppy. Coming into today, they have a negative 55 run differential. And you can thank the pitching for that. people are gonna get tired of me talking about it, but this was one of the most like if you looked at all the teams across the league coming into the season, and you had to rank needs of every team, you gotta think that the Baltimore Orioles needing starting pitching would have been one of the more highly ranking, more obvious needs in all of baseball. And they didn't get it. And now they're reaping the fruits of their labor or lack thereof, because they are not looking good.
No fruits. The big reason I called them dead a few weeks ago, they don't look like they have fun. I know I've said this before, but when you watch an Orioles game, they don't have fun. When you look at their veterans, it comes down to, in my mind, I think Cedric Mullins is like the name that comes to mind. Cedric Mullins is a quiet guy. He's a just show up and do my job every day. You know, I'm a big leaguer kind of guy. There's no spice. There's no flair. There's no swag. It's guys like all of your guys that look exactly the same. Copy and paste photo ID pictures between Adley and Gunnar and Keston and Little Holiday, and like all of these guys, just they look the same. They're blank faces when they hit a double. These home run water bong things have now kind of lost its luster.
Maybe run its course a little bit.
It just doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel exciting. And any time one of those guys does something positive, they're so stoic. There's just not any of those types of players on the team. They're lacking spice.
Are you calling the Baltimore Orioles unseasoned?
They're a boiled chicken.
Unseasoned boiled chicken.
Unseasoned boiled chicken. The water ain't even salted. And they're just slapping it on the plate saying, enjoy. That's it. There's no seasoning.
Yikes. Let's look at their ranking around the league, talking both sides of the ball here. They're not hitting for average, 229, 26 in baseball. Runs per game, 20th in baseball. Hits per game, 25th in baseball. Walks per game, 27th in baseball. Strikeouts per game, 24th in baseball. It's just not good. Team ERA, 29th in baseball.
Hey.
Whip, I didn't even know a staff whip could go this high. They're sporting a clip of 1551. 28th in baseball.
Ugh.
Strikeouts per 9, which we already knew was going to be the case, extremely low. 27th in baseball, 734. Hits per 9. They're averaging 10.32 hits per 9. They're giving up 1.6 homers per 9. That's worst in baseball. Their strikeout to walk ratio is 202, 26 in baseball. None of it's good.
They stink, man. They flat out stink. And they're not fun. So that's a bad combo. See what I'm getting at here? Is there just off the rip, just a little chatter here, just a little brainstorming. Is there a trade that makes this team fun? Is there a trade that makes this team exciting? A la Jose Iglesias on the Mets last year. Is there someone that can save the day?
Here's the thing. While I agree with you and I think they need to have more fun, I think they just need to be better. And if they become more fun in the process, so be it. But you and I both know that when you're winning baseball games, you're just more inclined to having more fun, even with an unseasoned bunch of
for you to answer
chicken
my
thighs
question.
like the Orioles.
Just a bunch of...
Look, I think he's tired of where he's at right now. He's been in
You have a
trade.
name?
He's been in trade rumors for some time now, and this, I think, a change in senior would do him good, and it would directly address the issue that I just mentioned that was so obvious coming into this season. Go out and trade for Sandy Alcantara. You have no weight in that rotation. None. And Grayson Rodriguez doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon either. There's a good chance we may not even see Grayson Rodriguez this year. Mm-hmm. I think the Orioles are being a little coy about that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. You got to do something with this window if you're the Orioles. You cannot let another year pass. And I'm not saying that this is their year, but you got to make a go at it. You got to make a go at it, and you got to do something because what you're doing right now is not working. I mean, Nate here has already written you off. Nate's already killed you off, Baltimore Orioles.
Bye.
Are you going to let that be the lasting image? Orioles, Nate giving you the farewell into the sunset on the 2025 season?
It wasn't even May yet when I did that.
That's up to you, Baltimore Orioles. That's up to you. Some items here, miscellaneous items around the league. Triston Casas out for the year after suffering.
That was tough to see.
Yeah, you hate to see it. After suffering a ruptured tendon, patellar tendon. You knew right away it wasn't good. And then
it wasn't a graceful moment.
That's a big human being.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if it was like one of those, I'm a little embarrassed by how I went down kind of things. And then all the reports came out and I was like, oh, it's pretty serious. Tough, man. What's the situation on his control?
Well,
still got control left.
The Red Sox weren't even.
They were shopping.
That's what I'm saying. They were hoping that this wasn't even going to be an issue or something they'd have to figure out, or they'd have to try to navigate. But I don't know what you do with him now, dude. I don't know what you do, because last year he missed a good chunk of time. Now he's missing the rest of this year, but the majority of this year. Not good, man. He's free agent 2029.
Oh, he's got a lot of control left.
It's only 25.
Woof.
What's
the situation look like as far as replacement?
I was gonna say,
what does that lineup shift to?
It's not great. You're moving to a full-blown platoon situation unless you go out and get somebody, which I doubt that's part of the plan. They're just gonna plug and play with Romy Gonzalez, and they called up Abraham Toro. So I don't know, man. The position was already weak, even with Casas in the lineup, just with the way he had started the year.
Yeah.
So now that you got to switch to a full-blown platoon situation, not a good place to be. But I I'm confident that the rest of that lineup can hold it down offensively. They year in and year out, they always do. I mean, one of the better offenses in the league every single season. So I think they'll be all right in the long term. And like, I don't think this puts that big of a dent into their postseason hopes, again, especially with the state of the American League right now. But it just, like you said, with the contract and the time he's got left, and the fact that you combine that with the fact that they were trying to shopping him heavily this offseason, it's a really uncomfortable situation. Really uncomfortable. So I just don't know. I don't know what's to come of it, but
I'm looking around the league for potential trade replacements. I'm just curious.
I think they're going to stick internally. I genuinely don't think they're going to
For the
go out
rest
and
of
get
the year?
anybody. Yeah. Unless you get to the deadline and it makes sense. But as of right now, I think they're just going to figure it out with what they have, which is nothing, because we don't have any like legitimate first baseman. It's just infielders that can slot in at first for a couple games a week.
That's why I feel like a move has to be made.
You would think that would make sense, but do I think they're going to do it? No. Yordan Alvarez sent to the IL with right hand inflammation, aka one of the more obvious ghost stints that we've seen in recent memory.
Yeah. What was he called? What was it officially?
Right hand inflammation.
Yeah. That's
There's actually, I saw a beat writer today, it was actually just one, who put right hand inflammation in air quotes or quotation marks soon to deleted the tweet.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I clicked it. But yeah, it's I think it's believed around the club that this was needed for performance's sake. Not a great start to the year. -0.4 WAR to start the year. Only 3 homers. Was hitting .210. Was slashing .306, .340, .646. With, I believe, an OPS plus, eyes don't fail me now, of 86.
What's your worry meter on him for the year?
Very low.
Me too.
I think this will do him some good.
I'm at like a 3-4 worried.
Yeah, I'd go 3.
Like it's not,
Maybe even 2.
plenty of time. Plenty of time.
This isn't, I'm not even putting Yordan Alvarez and Triston Casas in the same conversation, but for that very reason, it further validates my point. We know what Yordan Alvarez is. We know who he is. We know his profile. Correct. This isn't a thing where you got to guess. You know what he's going to do. And I said, I think this break will do him some good. Shota Imanaga also sent to the IL with the hamstring strain.
I hate to see that.
Was off to a decent start, 3-2 on the year, a WAR of 1.1, sub 3 ERA, 2.82 across 8 games, 34 strikeouts, and a WHIP of 10.97. But you just hope for the Cubs' sake, with the way they've been playing, that they can hold it down for however long he's out. And speaking of IL, Jackson Merrill was activated today from his stint on the IL. Don't believe he got in tonight because of the rain in New York.
Yeah.
They're trying to avoid putting any undue stress or anything on that situation. So You have to imagine when he gets it back in that lineup, that's going to serve as a huge boost of confidence, a real spark, real jolt for that team. Because tell you what, man, before he went down,
Yeah.
man was on a mission.
Yeah.
Sitting 378, 3 jacks.
What's
slashing
nice?
415, 676, 1090 with an OPS plus of 200.
Sure.
Small sample size, I know, but still, I mean,
still nice. What's nice is that you can come back and that's what's on there. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's a whole different beast. For example, like Jordan, where he's having to come back and he's seeing those rough numbers. He's seeing what hole he's got to dig out of, you know, versus, hey, this is where I left off from, and it's a good head start. So excited to see what he can do, man. Kid's different.
D-backs City Connects.
I like him.
So here's the deal. Elephant in the room here. This might be one of the first leaks we've seen, or final products, I should say, that actually didn't align with the leak. Because we talked about the leak when it came out. And if you recall, it had the classic D-backs word mark on it, but they doubled down on the Serpientes theme.
I didn't mind the first Serpientes.
I didn't either.
It was nice.
I didn't either. I liked it.
I liked the cream. It was very college baseball. I liked it a lot. But this is...
Hey, look, man, I had this thought when I was looking at it earlier when the official release came out. I'm like, you know, for as negative as we can be on some of these that come out, I mean, for good reason. Some of these are just they didn't even bother to try. But this is a clean looking jersey.
This can go down as one of the best that Nike did. And
you know, I think full credit needs to be given to really just the color scheme. I mean, that's an undefeated combo, man.
Let's just all be honest here. I don't think anyone has ever been a fan of the dark red that the Diamondbacks switched to. It's never hit the right way. And now that the black is in the mix more, I think it's helped that red. But the best parts have been the purple and the teal.
Without a doubt.
That's the meat in the sandwich. That's everything.
It's like, if we're talking like their current color scheme with the red and the sand and the teal, if you recall, they sort of stepped away from the sand color a little bit and updated their current logo with that electric teal color or whatever.
Well, the teal was out for a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But then they updated their main logo with they said, now let's go back to the teal, a little bit of a nod to the 90s, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they're inching closer and closer to making this a more of a mainstay combo. And for good reason. This is clean. And that hat, dude. That hat
is unreal. Look, I wonder if the purple was maybe an issue with the Rockies, and maybe that was a part of the switch up. But the Rockies barely exist right now, so like, why not? Let's just let the purple be the Diamondbacks. Maybe the Rockies need to just take on a new colorway. That's their punishment for being so bad. You have to change your colors. You have to completely rebrand because whatever you're doing ain't working.
That's good thought. It's good thought. Speaking of the NL West, Freddie Freeman, final note here. 350th homer of his career tonight. Good for Freddie, man.
Good for Freddie.
Where does that put him on the all-time list?
I'm going to say...
Don't even act like you have an educated guess right now.
I'm going to say 83rd.
83rd. What I say,
Probably way low.
350?
Yeah. He's probably in the hundreds.
Hey, good for Freddie. He just cracked the top 100.
Okay.
Tied for 100th on the all-time list with Chili Davis
All right.
at 350.
That's a name that doesn't get enough respect, by the way. Chili Davis. Good hitting coach.
Some names that he'll be passing soon: Dick Allen, Ellis Burks, Ryan Braun, Torrey Hunter, Lee May, Luis Gonzalez, Greg Vaughn, Joey Votto, Carlos Lee, Yogi Berra.
Still just 35. Got plenty of time.
Love that for Freddie. Good for Freddie.
Good for Freddie. Bad call, by the way. Not a good call. We were looking for call of the week. I don't even think 350 was brought up in the call, which is disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
7th of the year is what I believe I heard.
yeah, but that's one of those things that kind of, unless you're really doing your due diligence, which, let's be honest, we're all human. Sometimes we skip over some things like this.
No
Those
excuses.
are the things that get brought up in your ear, in your earpiece an inning
No
or two
excuses.
later, and you got to go back, revisit, say, by the way, that was it. Freddie Freeman's 350th home run, placing him in the top 100 of the all-time homer list. That's how that goes.
Be better. That's all I got. I'm out of stuff.
That's all I got.
See you Thursday. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.